That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us.
It's about $130 in gas.
Wow.
Which, just know, that is going to be your life with this car. Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. I'm Peter Bielan.
I'm Cecil Davis.
And we're just trying to have a conversation without using Google or AI or fact-checking. Those things so often kill the conversation. You know, Cecil and I, we just started talking one day, and we really wanted to fact-check each other. So we really resisted it.
And that day, actually, when we did fact-check each other, you were right and I was wrong.
Well, that's why I'm happy to be here as your co-host. But you know, for those of you that get it, we're so happy to hear. But for those of you who've been listening for a while, and if you're new, you might start hearing about our car series. We each have a project car, and this is not a car podcast, right? We're not here to talk about cars.
No.
But every once in a while, we hear of some story about a car that just don't sound right. So we have a guest. I want to welcome Jovie.
All right, everyone. I'm Jovie. I'm 19. I have a 1980 L48 Corvette T-top that I spent a total of $58 to get.
Wait.
So now most of you are going to think that this is what don't sound right, but tell your story. Tell us.
Okay, so at a friend's house, talking to her mom, she mentioned something about a Corvette that's been in grandparents' basement forever, grandparents' garage. Mentions they're moving, downsizing, just need space. Throws out the word, anyone that goes over there could just take it.
So you were just sitting there.
Oh yeah, we were just having dinner.
Okay.
She brought it up. You say anyone. Now I'm anyone. So
see, here's the thing: is I knew about the car.
Did you?
Yeah, I knew about the car because she had asked me what I thought it was worth, if it was worth fixing up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And I thought, sure it is. I mean, especially if you just get it running, it's not worth nothing.
So you're just having dinner, and this gets thrown out on the table.
yeah, and then so I have some friends, Hermans, as you know them, that have a car trailer and a Silverado that tows great. Messaging with them, asking if I could borrow it. They're like, absolutely. About a month goes by. I finally get in contact with grandparents that have the Corvette. I message the Hermans. They're in Virginia. And so, a frantic night of Googling the towing capacity of a 2004 4Runner.
No, that's your daily.
That is my daily driver. That is my only car. It is the best vehicle I've ever owned. And one trip to U-Haul the next morning, and me and my best friend are on the way to Charlotte, where the Corvette is.
So just geographically speaking, that's probably about 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah.
Okay.
And so, we get there. I am not ready for the hill. Their driveway is one of the steepest driveways I've ever seen. This is the first time I have ever trailered anything.
Nice. Mm-hmm. This is perfect.
Lots of new learnings.
I have never been a bigger fan of the roll-down rear window in a 4Runner because looking out of the back with a trailer makes it so much easier.
Oh, all right.
So, it's in the middle. It's a very nice neighborhood. The couple across from us, he pulled out his car. He daily drives a 1998 Acura NSX.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
His wife drives the Maserati.
So this is a nice neighborhood.
I'm in my old 4Runner with a 250,000 miles in this very upscale neighborhood, just trying to back a trailer up this probably 20 or 30 degree incline.
Man.
It is significantly steep.
And you haven't backed trailers before.
I pulled the trailer forward for a total of 2 hours from Winston to Charlotte. And so
this is great.
We get it backed up. Then I was informed the Corvette rolled. that was a bit of an exaggeration. The Corvette moved back and forth when you pushed it really hard.
Oh, man.
So I had a tire inflator. We got all the tires up with as much air as they would hold. I believe I checked the date code. They are 38-year-old tires.
Wow.
They held enough air for us to put the key in. It had completely dead, but we were able to take off the steering lock by at least turning the key, get it pushed forward, and then wait. Power steering isn't working. Steering is very heavy. It takes me and my best friend with all of our force wrenching on the wheel to turn the wheels.
Now the engine's not running, right?
Oh no, the car is not running. It is completely dead.
Okay.
Then we realized we have a problem. We have no way, because of how narrow the driveway is, we have no way to get the trailer in line with the garage.
Gotcha.
So you're going to have to steer this car.
So we're going to have to steer this car down an incline.
Oh, with no brakes.
With a parking brake that is more of a suggestion.
This is a great adventure already. This is such a great story.
And so
just let me. So you're in an upscale neighborhood with a trailer. Are you backed into the driveway?
Backed in the driveway, front of the 4Runner, sticking about 6 feet out of into the street.
Right. So you're on the incline, 20% incline, and you're trying to push a non-cooperative,
3,400
very low
pounds.
to the ground Corvette.
Yes.
Yeah.
That has a aftermarket front bumper that is so low that even with incline, with adding plywood boards to the ramps, physically could not stop from hitting the ramps.
So just for the car geeks out there, so the 1980 Corvette had an option, right?
It was a dealer manufacturer installed option, which is the Daytona style front bumper.
Which I don't personally prefer. I don't think you...
I am with you on that.
Yeah. So you got plans to replace that?
Yes.
Anyways.
So after a lot of heaving, we get nowhere. It's been about an hour and a half of just trying to load the car on. It is, I believe, about 1 o'clock. We have to get the U-Haul back by 4. We have 1 hour left to get it loaded. Or else I think it's about a $100 fine.
All right.
So I realize I have ratchet straps in the back of my car.
Exactly. Now, did you buy these new or did you find these alongside the road?
Oh, no, these are ratchet straps that have been in my car for, I think, since I bought it.
Okay, good. Because we often use ratchet straps that we have found alongside the road.
Oh, yes.
As part of the roadside fine
yes.
series.
So were your ratchet straps, did they come with the car? With the
They
4Runner?
did, they did not. No, I stole them from my dad.
Good.
They have been sitting, they are still in the back of my car, I believe. But we find a hook on the front of the Corvette, and we find a hook point on the trailer. Problem, all of these ratchet straps are rated for about 600 pounds. So we take 4 of them, hook each one to the front of the Corvette, and just each handle by each handle go by and hook one at a time till we force the Corvette up onto the trailer.
So it's dragging, right?
The front lip is dragging. The front splitter was already cracked.
Right.
So I was like, okay, we're going to add a few, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we eventually get the car loaded up. It was probably not, this is not my proudest moment. It was absolutely not weight distributed correctly. Don't do what I did. It was probably about 30% tongue weight.
All right.
She was squatting. So we get it loaded up. That is the most nervous drive through Charlotte traffic I have ever made.
Well, now explain just for people that don't know what tongue weight is.
It's basically when you trailer something, you want the weight on the actual hitch of your vehicle to be roughly 10% of the weight of your total trailer. Now, my total trailer weighs around 6,000 pounds. The 4Runner can tow about 7,100 pounds. However, I have probably 30 to 40% tongue weight. So I have probably 600-ish pounds sitting on the back suspension of the 4Runner.
We may have to do an episode on towing in general.
There's lots of things that don't sound right about towing. That's fact.
Yes.
And so I'm towing something that is heavier than the vehicle I'm driving by about 2,000 pounds. And by going about 55 in the right lane for 2.5 hours, we just barely managed to squeak by and get it to my house, which also has a steep incline on the driveway.
Yes, it does.
But here we have another problem. getting it off the trailer. Because again, no brakes, and our driveway's at an incline. So we have to pull it all the way to flat ground before we can load it. But then there's a brick wall. Solution. My dad was doing some yard work. I said, hey, I'll pay you back, and took 4 bags of sod.
Sod?
Or 4 bags of potting soil.
Okay.
Like big $2 bags from Home Depot.
Right.
I roughly lined them up with where the wheels would be. And I said, Maddie, get ready to push it. So we just unhook it from the trailer, unratchet strap it, and just say, it's either going to hit that brick wall or it's not.
You built a berm.
And so we built 2 of them because we thought it would go over the first one.
Right.
We were right. It did go over the first one. It almost went over the second one.
So you built 2 big speed bumps.
That's right.
Yep.
Just so everybody know that I didn't know this story before we got started, and this is exceeding all my expectations of what the story should be.
After we've loaded it, I then drive significantly faster than you should with a trailer back to U-Haul, drop it off, come back, and go, okay, we're here. Now we have a problem. Another one, you might say, because I am alone as of currently, and I need to get this into the garage.
Yeah.
Now this is on an uphill with no brakes, very limited steering, and very old tires. Solution: we have a bunch of old incline ramps that you drive your car up onto. So what I would do is have one under my foot, rock the car back and forth, do a big push to move it about 2 inches forward, then kick an incline ramp under it. Then repeat the process.
There you go.
And then I managed to get it all the way into the garage.
So 2 inches at a time.
2 inches.
You got it up the hill.
Took about
into
an
the
hour and a
garage.
half.
All right.
Up the hill.
So we had it up the main hill of the driveway. The whole driveway is slanted. So even the garage itself is slanted.
So when it stopped, it was on a pretty flat spot up against the wall.
Pretty flat spot, and then it has to curve around
the thing
into the garage. So that was a fun day.
So Atlas probably had an easier time getting that rock up the hill than
man.
you had this Corvette going.
We made it.
That is an awesome story.
That
And
is
so now you're in the garage.
Now it's in the
Made it.
garage.
$54 in.
$54 in for the trailer,
Yeah.
and I guess I should add 1 tank of gas. So about $100 in total spent.
That's awesome.
That's a nice
Now,
return.
I know, and we're gonna do words of wisdom here. We got a special guest for words of wisdom. All right, hey, so we have a special guest tonight. Lisa, our #1 listener in Western North Carolina, is going to join us just for a minute on That Don't Sound Right.
Hey everybody, glad to be here.
So she came for a visit today, and you can introduce the words of wisdom.
The words of wisdom tonight are patience is a virtue.
Right. So we'll expand on that a little as we go. But thanks, Lisa, for listening and for stopping and seeing us today.
Yeah, thanks for recording every week. I look forward to it.
All right. So I think everybody that's listening right now thinks that the reason we chose this story is because you got a car basically for free. But that don't sound right.
That don't sound right.
But the thing that doesn't sound right to me is what comes next. And what happened that day is that you were so patient about getting this car back running. Because I mean, the confession here for me is when I drove, if I would have driven down to Charlotte, I would have tried to start that thing in the garage. I would put a battery in it.
Well,
poured some gas in it.
If I heard it was rolling, you would have driven me down and dropped me off.
Right.
And I would have attempted to drive the vehicle back because I heard, quote, it rolls. Unquote.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah. And so that's the amazing part of this is that you were patient enough not to try to turn that engine over.
Now, Jovie, you've watched plenty of YouTube videos of these folks that go out into barns and fields. They find these old cars, and their goal is to drive them home.
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing I've seen is that there's one key feature that really helps with being patient. It's not having any money. About a week after I get it there, I get a battery. Get that in, everything lights up.
All right.
Nice.
Incredible. Feel great. Love Walmart batteries.
Right.
Same supplier as everyone else, but cheaper.
Right.
So, everything lights up. I am so tempted to crank it. So tempted. But, using my better judgment, I realized, okay, this gas is terrible. We have to at least, if I do nothing else, get the old gas out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we have big gas canisters at our house. The problem is they were full. And getting rid of gasoline is one of the most unexpected trials I have ever faced.
There's nowhere to dump it, right?
There is only one depot where you can get rid of it. They are open from Monday through Wednesday from 10 to 3.
Wow.
And I work a full-time job. There's not a lot of options where you're there from Monday to Wednesday from 10 to 3.
That's right.
And so I managed to get off work. I said, okay, my boss, Ricky, I'm like, hey, you'll appreciate this. Just give me like 2 hours to go get rid of some gas. Run there, take the old gas canisters, dump them off, bring them home. I'm like, okay, we can do this now. I start pumping out the old gas. It looks like transmission fluid. Wow. I have a picture of it. I don't know. It's an audio show, but it is, imagine fresh, brand new ATF. That is what was in the gas tank.
We can get that picture on our website. Along with the car.
Oh, yes, I do.
We need to put the car on.
I have plenty of pictures.
We're going to do this. This is going to be great.
So I'm just standing there. We have a fluid transfer pump at our house because we also have an old motorcycle we had an idea of fixing once upon a time. So I'm pumping the gas out. It's just disgusting. I've gotten as much as I can out.
How much do you think was in there?
It was a full tank. Oh. It had probably 16 gallons in it.
Whoa, that would have been tough to dilute because, again, I would have had a gas can. I would have, thought, okay, there's probably old gas in here.
Yeah.
Let's put some new gas in. Dilution is the solution to pollution. Let's just mix it up. But no, that wouldn't have worked on a full tank. There's nowhere to put the new gas.
I wonder if the full tank of gas saved your tank. Is the tank usable?
Tank is good, yes.
Is it a metal tank?
Yeah, it's a metal tank.
Okay.
There's no rust on it.
That's probably why. That's probably what saved it.
Yeah.
It is clean inside too. I had a friend of mine has one of those boroscope cameras.
Really?
I have looked. They're really cheap, honestly. You can get them on Amazon, but you just plug it into the bottom of your phone and use it. Mm-hmm. But I looked in the gas tank, and there's nothing in it.
So there's no like varnishy gunk.
Like there was old gas, but other than that, there was no rust, no holes, nothing I could find.
Yeah, I wonder if that saved it.
I bet you it did.
Yeah, but you still, like you said, you can't dilute it there.
And so then I've gotten as much as I can out with the pump, and I hit on the gas can. It still sounds full. I'm like, okay, we have got to get this out. So what I do, I hook up a tender to the battery so it doesn't die. And then I take off the fuel line to the carburetor. We have a bunch of old plastic canisters in our house. So I just take a bunch, tape them to the end of that fuel hose, and just sit there cranking it over. Dumping out the old gas, cranking it over. Dumping out the old gas, cranking it over. Until I get almost nothing out. Then I put new gas in. Keep cranking it over until it's the same color of the new gas that I just brought home.
Oh, good idea. See, again, really very patient.
I mean, I would have gotten half done. Okay, that's enough. Fill it up, fire it up.
And then the last thing I did, which I have a huge bone to pick with General Motors engineers. Why did they make the entire front bumper, front clip, and front fenders and wheel wells a single piece?
Really?
You cannot remove them without taking the engine out, basically.
Wow.
The engine has to come out the bottom because there's, on the front end, other than the lower front bumper, there is not a single body panel you can remove because there's just a single panel.
Even that nose, the aftermarket nose?
So the nose you can't. That's the only thing you can disconnect.
Okay.
Everything else is a single piece.
Oh, man. It's all fiberglass?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fiberglass is the future. So the final most annoying part is spark plugs. So I went down, bought the cheapest set of $3 each spark plugs from the local AutoZone. I used a total of 5 extensions and 2 universal joints to get to the final 4 of them.
Sounds about right.
It was about 3 hours just to do spark plugs.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But new plugs, new gas, I figure go for it.
Have you started it at this
I have
point?
not started it yet.
Still yet?
I figure, okay.
In the store you haven't, but you've started it.
Oh, period, I have started it, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So I sit in the car, I'm like, okay, this is it. It either starts or I have a much bigger problem.
Right.
So I crank it over, It cranks a single time, fires up.
Wow.
Whoa.
It fires up almost, it might be faster than my 4Runner.
So what size engine does this have?
It is a 2-bolt main 350 small block.
Nice.
And so it has the factory Rochester Quadrajet carburetor on it, which is actually, despite 40 years, decently clean, has solid gaskets on it, actuates fine when you press down the gas. I start it up, it runs perfect.
No kidding.
It is smooth as glass.
No way.
It is incredible. I know the transmission will move the wheels, but I have not driven it. I have got the wheels turning while up on jack stands.
Right. Gotcha.
But other than that, while I do not know the condition of the transmission, I know how bad the brakes are.
Well, I think we'll stop here. I think we have come to the end of another That Don't Sound Right.
And so, sitting on jack stands, waiting for parts to be delivered.
Right.
So basically, you've probably spent the most, and this is also a foreshadowing of your life with this vehicle. But up until now, you have spent the most money on gasoline. Driving to go get it and bring it back, and the gasoline you had to put in there, and the ride you had to get home to dump the old gas out.
I was thinking battery, but no, I think in total cost spent, it's about $130 in gas.
Wow.
Which, just know, that is going to be your life with this car. But it's a life well lived.
Oh yes.
Well, yeah, so that don't sound right. A lot of things so far don't sound right, but you've come to the end of this That Don't Sound Right.
Hey, before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. Thanks, Jovie, for being here and sharing your story. There's so many. I think we're going to come back to this story some more. I think we're going to follow the life and times of the Corvette with Jovie. Obviously, if this is your first time listening to our conversation, we hope you enjoyed it. If you would consider hitting the subscribe button or the check mark on Apple Podcasts, we'd really appreciate it. Also consider leaving us a review or give us a rating. Also, just want to point out that St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner. And if you're looking for that green shirt, hat, pint glass, or coffee mug that features That Don't Sound Right, visit our merchandise for some St. Patrick's Day merchandise.
Somebody asked me about our merchandise today, and I said it comes very slowly and it's overpriced. So
we have set the expectation very high.
So That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR Podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I am your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your web designer and other host. Emily is your graphic designer. Giorgio is your product tester. Brent is our brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is Scott. So until next Saturday night, stay curious.
And keep talking.